And so, good morning, y'all, y buenos dias. So for today's video, we are talking about gentle discipline, what it means, what it doesn't mean, and a few examples. So if y'all are interested, then keep on watching. So what is gentle discipline? To us, gentle discipline is a partnership. It is about teaching your children the morals and the values that you want to teach them, while also aligning with those morals and values. And so for us, gentle discipline is about teaching. And that's all it is, because discipline, unlike punishment, is about teaching. I think that a lot of people get confused about that, which is totally understandable, because in our society, we deem things as discipline when we really are thinking about punishment. Punishment is about having an end result of pain or of suffering or something of that sort, as opposed to a learning lesson or something of that nature. So discipline literally means to teach. We think of discipline as like, go sit in that corner, right? Or like, you're gonna get a spanking or whatever. That's what we think discipline is. When in reality, discipline is, okay, this happened, what can you do to have this either not happen again, or how can you handle it different? And so I think that that's like one of the big barriers that we have like in our society, is that we don't know the difference between discipline and punishment. So for us, it is something that I've always wanted to do. And so Zach and I had discussions about what our parenting style was going to be even before the kids were born. We knew that we wanted to have a gentler approach. We knew that we wanted to have something that was a lot more logical and like heartfelt, as opposed to just like the norm of just going through with the motions of parenting, because a lot of this is more work. And I know that it is. It can be easy to just go instinctively to punishment, as opposed to actually like doing the work of disciplining your children. And so it can be a lot of work to try to teach these lessons, to inform our children about what is right and wrong, as opposed to just telling them, you're punished and this is what you have to do, or you're punished, you don't get this toy now, or whatever it is. So that's what gentle discipline is to us. It is something that is an everyday thing. It is something that we have to stay vigilant with, like, all of the time. I think a lot of people also have a misunderstanding of gentle discipline being passive parenting. And for those of y'all who know me, like, personally, y'all know that I am by no means a passive parent. I am not the type of person to let something slide. I am not the type of person to just like let things be. And so passive parenting also does not mean gentle parenting at all. Gentle parenting does not mean that you let your kids do whatever they want, whenever, with no consequences. Like, absolutely not. That is not the case. And so it's more so of being logical, of understanding your kid's capacity. A lot of people don't understand their children's capacity depending on their age, or just like the individual child. So if you give your child, a young child that doesn't have the physical capacity to not spill something, and you allow them to bring that thing onto a carpeted area, and then you get big mad, like, kind of your fault. You know, like, you also have to understand and draw the line between things that are within your child's control. ¿Cuál?
That red?
Sí, los cachetes rojos.
Yeah.
Sí. What's within your child's control and what isn't. And so you have to understand that, and you have to draw the line. And that goes the same thing with your kids being grumpy and hungry and tired. So a lot of things come into play. So by understanding your child's cues, ¿qué está haciendo? By understanding your child's cues, you know, are they grumpy because they didn't sleep well last night? Are they just tired? Are they hungry? Are they fussy because they have a headache? So like, understand all of those things the same way you would understand it for like your friend. You know, like, if your friend is really irritable, you're not going to like add more to it. You're going to try to come from a point of understanding and like work with it, right? So we in the society forget to work with our children in that way too. We tend to like have this mentality of like, do as I say and that's it. And that's just not an appropriate thing to teach our children, like, period. You don't want your kids to do things because someone says you gotta do it. Like, that's actually really, really bad. You don't want your kids to do that, right? And so, yeah. So that's a little bit about what gentle discipline is. And now I'm gonna give y'all a couple of examples. I had y'all send me some questions or like scenarios and like how like to appropriately respond to it. And this like, you have to understand that you have to give yourself leeway as well, especially, hold on. You have to give yourself some slack, give yourself some leeway, because especially if you're coming from a culture that is very like pro punishment, pro like, you know, whatever, you need to understand that you are unlearning a lot of that behavior as well. And this is like perfect, like, case scenario, right? Like, this is like what you should do in the perfect time. But sometimes you're hungry, you're grumpy, you're tired, and all of these things. So that's not how it's gonna work out every single time. And that's not how it works out for me every single time. I just don't want anyone to ever think that I'm like this like perfect, angelic, patient. Hey, déjelo estar. Él no quiere que lo toque. Él no quiere que lo toque, déjelo. By no means whatsoever. This is something that I learn every single day and unlearn behaviors every single day. And so that first. And secondly, I am no child behavioralist. I am no child psychologist. I'm just a mama of two who sees what works with my children. That's another thing too. Not everything works for every child. Different developments, different everything, you know, so just keep in mind of what works for you and your child as well. But I'm going to read a couple of scenarios and then give suggestions or just ways of handling things. Okay, so one of the scenarios is your child is in the store and they're getting super upset about you not buying something for them. And so this has a lot of different layers, right? And so some children are far more attached to material things than others. And so a lot of that comes from the culture that you bring around it and the value that you bring to those things. So you want your kids to appreciate the things that they have. Obviously, you want them to like take care of them and, you know, whatever. But at the same time, you don't want them to be like obsessed. You want them to take care of them and all of that. But at the same time, you don't want them to be obsessed with like material objects. And so this can be a tricky one. So, for example, Luna, I'm super fortunate that a lot of the things, Luna is, her demeanor in general, she's a very typically chill person. And so I'm able to talk to her about certain things. But for that certain scenario, in the store, this happened a few days ago actually. And so we were in the store and she was like, you know, like, quiero esto, quiero esto. And so I sat down because she was like starting to get to that point. And so I sat down, I was like, that, you know, that toy is so cool. Está súper bonito, me gustan los colores. So first, like validate. So you want to validate what they're feeling. They're a kid. They think the object is cool. Like you can tell them that it's cool. That's fine. And so first of all, acknowledge what they're feeling. So by appreciating the object, by saying like, yeah, those are really cool. You can even show how they have something similar at home. Like, oh yeah, this one part is kind of like the one you have, you know, something like that. And if they're still getting whatever, you might want to kind of divert the attention. So be like, do you want me to take a picture of it? And so like whip out your phone. Do you want me to take a picture of it? And we can add it to your wish list. So that's something that we've been doing with her that has worked out awesomely. It's something that is like such an easy fix because I really do add it to the list of things that maybe we can get for her eventually. And so I have this big list on my phone of all of these pictures that I've taken with her and a certain object that she thinks is cool. And so, ¿verdad? Uno de los juguetes era comida, the food, de juguete. And so that's one of the objects that she thought was really cool. And I told her we can take a picture of it. Y tal vez para el cumpleaños, maybe for her birthday, she can get a set like that. And she was all excited about taking a picture with it. And again, it's not going to work every single time. And that's fine. Children are kids. They are learning how to be in this world, and it's our job to teach them how to be and to show them what is appropriate and what isn't appropriate behavior. So that is another one of the big things, is their emotions are valid. And I've talked about this several times in my Tantrum series, and I'll link that down below. But it's okay that they want it. It's okay that they feel that much excitement about it, but it's not okay to kick and flail on the ground, or it's not okay to be yelling in the store and stuff like that. So you can tell them that. You can tell them, I know you really, really want it, and I see that it's super cool, but we're just not going to get this right now. And it's just not something that we're going to be able to get. And again, by talking to them in that way, they're realizing that they're being treated as a person. And again, they might still be hysterically yelling the entire time, and that's the time where you just have to, if possible, finish your shopping and remove them from the situation. But that's just how it is. Sometimes kids are just kids. Another scenario that y'all sent me was dinner time drama. So your child's either refusing to eat or something of that nature. And that happens with all kids. I'm going to link down below a couple of nutritionists that I follow on Instagram that have really revolutionized the way we think about dinner time and stuff like that. And so again, I'm super fortunate que Luna le encantan los frijoles, right? Le encanta el gumbo. So she eats pretty much everything that we eat. And I think that starts from the jump. You got to feed your kids what you eat from the get-go. And I think that helped us out a lot too, because once she was able to eat foods, we ate just so much healthier because we weren't eating as much processed stuff because we wanted her to eat what we were eating. But anyways, so our rule for dinner is that we're not going to force you to eat, because that's super problematic in and of itself. And like I said, I'll let y'all check out the nutritionists that I follow online that can root to some serious eating disorders and all kinds of negative thoughts around food. So we do not force our children to eat. But I also am not going to make 9 different meals for my kid because they don't want to eat this and then they don't want to eat that. They don't know. I don't play that. And so we eat what's for dinner, or the alternative is something that I already have prepared in the fridge. So usually let's say I make a pasta with asparagus and bread for dinner, for example. And she's I don't want to eat that. And I'm okay, I have frijoles licuados in the fridge. And then she'll usually be okay, I want the frijoles licuados. Sometimes you just don't want to eat that one specific thing, which again is fine. Think about it from your perspective. Sometimes you don't want that one specific thing. But if you don't want the frijoles licuados, then are you really hungry, or are you just trying to be whatever? And so I know that so many parents deal with that same situation of oh, well, I don't want to eat that. 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 You're not a on-hand chef to be making 9 different meals for people in your house either. You have to have the self-respect to say no to that too. But again, and so we have those 2 meals, and then that's it. And typically, she'll just agree and eat it. And again, there comes the times where it's you take 1 bite and it's yeah, that's not eating dinner. But forcing your children, literally forcing your children to eat is super, super problematic. This was something that I had a hard time working with because we're vegan. We're smaller people in general. Both Zach and I are much smaller people. So our children are smaller. Specifically, Luna has always been a small child. And so... You're a little bit small. Yeah, Luna tiene 3 años. And so it was always something that I feared, oh my gosh, she's going to be small and it's my fault and she's not eating. But that wasn't the case. It was because we're small and she's going to eat. I'm offering super healthy, abundance amounts of food throughout the entire day. So that's another thing too. If you're fortunate enough to be able to stay at home with your kids and you're able to monitor every single meal, just by offering, your job is to offer an abundant amount of a variety of super healthy options and they're gonna eat. They're going to eat it. If you're stuck on this, like, oh, my kid's only eating this one specific food, or my kid is eating only like, super processed foods, just keep offering those foods. Keep offering the healthy options, and they're gonna eat it. They will. They 100% will. And so, we have a like lower stash, like, I don't know what's it's called, like this cabinet thing. And so we have bananas and oranges and all kinds of stuff that she can literally just grab and eat throughout the entire day. And so by having those available to her, she eats them. And so that's something that, like, I can dive like way deeper if that's a video that y'all want to like listen more into. But as far as dinner time, provide nutritious meals, and that's the only job that you have. And the final example will be screen time and how to handle the drama that comes with it. This will be the last one just because I feel like this video is already super long. I'll try to make a whole nother video just on kids being physical, hitting, and biting, because I was super requested and I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. But dealing with drama that comes with screen time. So I'll also link the video down below of like screen time and how we handle it. But children, everyone, but children specifically can get hella addicted to screens. And it's just like, that's what they're going to do because it's so like colorful and bright and like changing. And I mean, think about how many adults you see walking around. They're literally like addicted to their phone. Not like, ooh, I use my phone a lot or I'm on social media, like addicted, like literally. And so children are the same way. A lot of children, if given the opportunity, will want to be on it for literally hours on end. And so when that time comes that they need to get off of it, they're like, no. They're like literally going to like withdrawals and stuff. And so to me, a good start with that is like by managing it. So don't do it one day to another. I wouldn't suggest that, just because if someone is used to something that hardcore for that many hours and then like all of a sudden it stops, you might have to almost wean them off. So just however long that they are usually on it, just slowly start docking it down, like every day, every week, a little bit less, just that way they're not used to like the copious amounts of time. And then once you're at whatever limit that you are comfortable with, what I would suggest is something along the lines of them telling you about what they watched. And so, let's say you're done watching your 30-minute show or whatever it is that they're watching. And then as soon as it turns off, and it's like, oh, okay, that's so awesome, it's done, like, how cool was that? And ask them about it. Be like, so what was your favorite part? What did so-and-so do? Or what did the animals, where were the animals living? And start asking them questions, start, making them basically continue that feeling of them watching it without them actually watching it. And so by asking all these questions, they're still hype about it, but the screen ain't on anymore. And so, and that goes for anything, whatever it is that they're doing, just like start asking them questions, start bringing that dialogue out. And this is literally for any age, like any age children that are watching something can be like, can start being excited about it. And so that's just like one simple way of handling it. Again, that's something that has to be managed in the long run, just because screens, as super beneficial as they can be in many different scenarios and many different ways, they can be super harmful if not regulated. I know that sounds super weird, but it's true. Just by getting them really excited afterwards, by asking them questions, by asking what their favorite part was or whatever it is that can get them excited and not like super bummed out that they're not watching it anymore. So that is it for today's video. I apologize if this is kind of like all over the place, but y'all already know, 2 kids. This is how I do things now. But if y'all have any comments or questions, head over to my Instagram. I answer them all there. Dots for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.